Alrighty, Mr. Gatekeeper here. Here's another one. We have a older school. I ain't gonna call it old school. I'll say older school. The turbo mod 667V turbo mod, 2/3 kilowatt. I haven't seen many of these. They're just 667Vs. They're just older 667Vs. That's all they are. Ain't much different at all. Wow, was this a hack job. A lot of people would have shipped this back to the owner. It was pretty rough. Pretty rough, very rough actually. Alright, let's start from the top here. When I popped the top open the first time, it was very dirty. Over here to the right board right here, the copper was oxidized very bad. The copper was exposed. As you can see, I just went ahead and put solder down to keep that from oxidizing again. And I know I at least got 2 to 3 hours just in cleaning. Some of these boxes you'll get, you have no choice but to clean so you can make good solder connections. Because if you don't clean, you're sitting there trying to solder dirt, oxidation, oxidate, y'all. Dang, boy. I think it's like 4:30 in the morning, man. Oxidation, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, man. Brain ain't working good. I promise that's a Marlboro menthol in my hand. Ain't no wacky or nothing. We don't do that. Well, so I probably got about 3 hours in cleaning it. I need to start showing more before after videos. I'm actually doing that right now, what I'm working on over at the bench. Old Palomar Elite 500 base. I need to start doing that more with the other ones so y'all can kind of see before and after, because if you've seen the before and after of this, you would be able to tell a humongous difference, man. This thing looks very clean compared to the way it did look. I mean, I had to clean pretty much almost every component, all the resistors. I had to clean a lot in here, man. Try not to do that as much. It takes up a lot of time, but it's hard not trying to perfect everything, making it look good and neat too, you know. But anyway, the very first thing I noticed right off the bat was that this section right here had non-dot 2879s in it. And then this section right here had dot 2879s in it. That's a big no-no. That is a very big no-no. The two transistors have two different HFE value. Yeah, my light just turned out. If y'all can see that, my dang battery's going low. So we'll try to zoom on through this pretty quick. Got about 18 minutes left in memory, but the battery's real low. Too low for that flash. We don't need no light. I didn't mean to have it on anyway. Anyway, that's a big no-no. You can't mix dots and non-dots. That's not a good thing to do. Just like you don't need to be mixing DEIs and Toshibas in the final section. You can do it in the driver section, it's not the final section. So, went ahead and popped those two non-dots out. And it appeared they were a little on the weak side when I checked them. And I put two brand new dots in. I might have used 2879, so we had to put two new ones in. I would have put two used ones in this particular unit, being what it is, but we didn't have any used ones, so we put two new ones in there. Okay. When you have the non-dots and the dots, they'll fight with each other. The weakest the weakest set is going to keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker as you use it. The HFE value is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as you use it. My guess is this section right here was the weakest. So, you know, it got a little weaker and weaker and weaker. So, with that being said, this is not the strongest output 667 by no means that I've seen. And my educated guess is because of this 2-pil section right here. If, you know, these transistors are expensive, man. If you had 80 more bucks, 85 more bucks, I could throw you two of the same a match set over here. But, you know, I know you probably wouldn't want to throw another 85 bucks out there. I done talked to you, my friend. And so we'll just roll with this right here, man. You know, you got to do what you can do about a customer's request. So, but if you could have afforded it, that would have been the best thing to do. But you know, it's working. You know, it's like I said, not the most greatest output, but it is working, and it ain't working terribly bad. It's doing pretty good, pretty good. Went ahead and did the well, let's get back on to some of the things that was wrong here. It was missing this 2200 microfarad electrolytic right here on the bison circuit. This jumper here was missing or cut in half one. I'm glad I caught that. Some 667 boards have that jumper already there being used under the board. So I went ahead and put that jumper back, or this board wouldn't have been biased. You'd have had a class C right here and an AB right there. Okay. Oh, yeah, right here. This lead was not soldered, man. There was one side of this that was not soldered. When your RF is coming out of both of these sections to go out toward the relay, then back out the amp, it goes through this, I think it's a .22, I think it's a 2200 picofarad, I believe, if I remember correctly. It just goes through that in series, you know, just being used as a DC coupler cat. And so I had to go to my old little Texas Star part bag and grab one of them, put one of them in there. Let's see here. Y'all forgive me here. Oh, this section had. Oh, no. This section had 47 ohm resistors on the feedback circuit, and of course you see this one has 39 ohm. So I went ahead and took those 47s off and put 39s to make them match. Put new 104s right there. Okay. The 1000 on the driver looked in very bad shape. I took it off. It's still read good, but I went ahead and just replaced that with a new one. The feedback circuit for the driver section was that the 104 was not even on there, and this resistor was just hanging. So I went ahead and put a 104 on there and hooked that back up together there. I mean, this thing had been hacked pretty good. Let's see this choke right here. This is your choke that's going to be feeding your preamp. This choke was burnt very bad, man. It was burnt to a crisp, and the reason why, let's see if I can get down here, man. See if I can get something to point with. I'm gonna try this. Let's see. All right, you see this solder right here? There was a big, huge glob of solder going from here to right here. Okay, that took this out and that took this cap out right here, and I'll tell you about it in a second. This is a 1000. Well, it's two together equaling 1000. That's a 1000 picofarad. I'll tell you about that in a second. That's the very last thing that I had to fix. So I had to replace that choke right there and that 1000 picofarad cap. Oh, let's see here. It might be getting close to it right there. Oh, this 1000 metal clad was not soldered on this side to the transformer. I mean, it was literally not soldered. It was just sitting there loose. So we soldered that. Okay. There's one more thing over here. What was it? Oh, the 330s right here. I took them off and checked them. One was reading, I want to say 308. The other was reading at 330. That's just too far off for my taste. So I got in my bag and replaced one of them to equal the same there. And we repositioned them. That's the way I like putting them on Texas Stars. You know, that's the way they put them on factory right there. But I kind of like it that way. Alright, I believe that's it. Except I'll go ahead and tell you the last thing. When I oh yeah, we did a little power mod, as you can see. Show you the back of that. Like I said, I got about 3 different ways that I do this. That hole right there, I am guessing, was for wires for a fan. You know, you didn't ask me to do one, but if you ever want to add a fan to it, I can easily show you where to solder the power wire to in here so it turns on when you turn the switch on. So that's, you know, it's okay to leave that there if you want to add a fan to it, which to me, I think every 667 should have a fan on the heatsink. I usually got about 3 ways I usually do the power wire upgrades. This is one of the ways. Fuse holders is took out, the holes are plugged. Okay. These are 2 good 8 gauges. I bring them in and I split them off. 8 going here, 8 going there. These are 8. Real thin insulation, but they are 8. Good, solid 8 gauge. 8 comes in, 8 splits off there to that board, off there to that board, instead of a dang lead powering this board over here. I just do not agree with that. The ground comes in, splits off this board to that board, instead of going just to this board and having a thin wire, which is still there if you look down there. Right here. The wire is still there. I left it there, of course. That's like a 18 gauge maybe. Instead of an 18 gauge bringing the ground from here to this board, you got an 8 feeding that board, 8 feeding this board. That's the way I think it should be. It makes me feel a lot better. Alright, I ain't got many minutes here left, so let me go ahead and shoot through this. When it was all said and done, I was not getting any RF through the box on barefoot. So I had to use my little, I'll just kind of flash it on the screen real quick, my little RF probe so I can trace down the RF. And it come to find out what it traced down to was this 1000 picofarad. It was fried. So I took that off. That's 2 caps that equal 1000. And we were back up and running. Alright. You wanted me to try to take this knob off and put another one on. Brother, I don't know if they glued that on there or not, but it ain't coming off, man. I pulled and I pulled and I pulled. That's a channel selector knob from a radio, but to be honest with you, man, you're probably just going to leave this turned all the way up. You'll see what I'm saying. I'm going to leave this turned all the way up. Okay, we got about 4 minutes. Let me race through this. About 3 minutes. I'm going to show you how much we're going to be putting into it. About 20 watts PP as usual. Audio. Alrighty. 21 watts. 13.8 volts. Alright, we're just going to leave this variable turned all the way up since we already have 3 3 power settings just with the switches themselves, switching from 75, a 50, and a 75 resistor in there. If anybody's ever really explained that before. Oh yeah, the preamp does work, brother. I checked that out for you. I didn't have to do anything. Well, yeah, that's one more thing. There's a little glass diode down here. There's a silicon there. I went ahead. It was not even soldered, so I went ahead and soldered a glass diode there. It's best to use a glass diode in the preamp circuit because we won't get into all that. Okay. All right. Lowest setting first with the switches. We're just going to leave this all the way up, okay? Since we got 3 switches there. Oh, audio. Alright, about 150 watts. We're going to go to medium. Pull the delay out. Oh, 430 watts. Alright, about 450 watts. I just dropped my goddamn mic. Whenever I get in a hurry, y'all get to dropping stuff. Alright, we're gonna go to high. Here we go. 560 watts. The box is tuned beautifully. I don't use this MFJ on the out usually. I just don't trust it really. But I mean, it's good and low on the MFJ audio. It's a 1-2 on the MFJ. The input is, I mean, superb. Sorry about that. I had to punch myself back in. The phone finally died, just in case there's a quick glitch y'all see when I put the together. We on a 10-watt slug though. So the input, I mean, the input's tuned wonderful. Audio, no movement whatsoever. Beautiful tune, beautiful tune. The only other thing too that I have noticed, I'm gonna end up busting that dang mic, man. I need to put a dang rock in it, make it weigh more. You see that 33 ohm resistor? Usually there's a 27 there. That's only 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. That's only 6 ohms of resistance, but you know, it could have a little bit to do. It would cut it back just a tad bit, even if you had it all the way up, but that just means you can hit it a little harder if you need to. So far we're getting about 570, 580, somewhere around there, 560, 570, 580. Alright, now I'm going to turn the volts up to about 15.2. This will also give you kind of an illustration if you were driving it with a little bit more wattage, you know, maybe, you know, just an estimate as an example, maybe a 30-watt radio or something like that. And you should pop up around 700 now. Oh, 711. Input tune is still looking good. Shows you we're not overdriving it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Audio. I don't know how accurate that relative output is, but audio. If it is, that shows you can still drive it a little harder possibly. I ain't gonna hit it with my hot radio over here, but you know, we're seeing about normal of a lot of people 667s out there already. But we're seeing a range of 500 to 700 watts, which, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, that's where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it is, but I've also seen some 667s on the bench that go up to 800 or so too, you know. So 25-watt dead key, low dead key. That's what I'm saying, man. With this particular one, you can run it with that green button out, man, no problem. Some of them, man, you can't. It's just too Too high dead key, man. It's running it with that. It's supposed to be with a you know, a good stock 667. Running it with that green button out. That's supposed to be for your 4 or 5 watt input for the CW transmitter or whatever. That's for, and then with it pushed in, then you know, voice and all that, whatever. That's the way they got it primary designed. Oh, alrighty. Well, there you go, man. I hope you enjoy it. Get this thing shipped back to you. I'm glad I was able to revive it. A lot of people would have probably shipped it back to you, man. But we got it up and rolling for you, brother. Glad to have been able to do it for you, man. Just another box, man, that can keep the hobby rolling. That's the way I look at it. Another box that can be used to keep somebody in the hobby. Y'all have a good one. Mr. Gatekeeper, gotta go get on this. You got another real fun one over here to the left of me, so I gotta go get on that, man. Gatekeeper said it. I do it for the love. Got down.